I'd like to welcome you again, especially to this meeting for a 100 mentorship program. You're most welcome to this meeting. And this meeting is going to be another turning point encounter meeting for you. I'd like to get your mindset, get your pen and paper all over the place where you're seated, and pay rapt attention at this moment. Is very crucial that you pay attention to what is going to be coming out anytime from now. Listen very carefully, please. He said, for the earnest creature, they are waiting for the manifestation of sons of God. And this teaching will center much on becoming. We began the journey of becoming, the mindset of becoming. Listen very carefully. This is the second session of becoming, but I would like you to pay rapt attention. Get your pen and paper and listen very carefully. Now, to become answers to identity. For those who do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. But this moment, the teaching at this moment, this focuses on optimism and growth mindset. This is the second session of Becoming series. We understand that this is focuses on optimism and the growth mindset. We'll be looking into some principles and characters, and we'll clearly explain to show you how stages of comeback after failure. So this moment you're gonna mark a turning point in somebody's life. And I know you seated here that this is gonna be your portion. Now let me begin by this session 2 is renew your mind. Renew your mind. Renew your mind to design your life. For those who do know their God shall be strong and do exploit. So every renewal of mind begin with redesigning your life. And while you redesign your life, optimism, growth mindset, and the power to rise again after failure is what we'll be centering on tonight. But the deep truth is this: you do not rise in life beyond the level of your thinking. Transformation begins when your mind changes. But tonight is a night of mind changing for generations. It's a night of mind changing for generations. Now, why mindset matters more than momentary failures? We need to understand the reason why mindset matters more than momentary failures. Failure does not end people's journey in life. A defeated mindset does. The only thing you need to understand is that many people will fail once but think defeated forever. But listen very carefully from this transformational message, this moment in this meeting, in book of Romans chapter 12 from verse 2, it said, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So everything that anchors on your mindset is about the renewal of your mind. The moment your mind is renewed, everything about you will change. Now listen very carefully. God does not begin transformation by changing circumstances. He begins by changing perspective. Your perspective must change before circumstances will follow. Growth mindset. Listen about the growth mindset versus mindset. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Hear this. Fixed mindset says to you, this is who I am. I failed and I am not good enough. That is what fixed mindset will tell you. I failed, so I am not good enough, and others ahead of me. I've missed my chance. But here is what God mindset will say to you, this generation. I can grow. I can learn. God is still shaping me. This setback is not the end of my life. Hear what the scripture said, the principle from Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 7. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So whatever revolves around your mindset determines your outcome on how you're going to come back from every failure. Your life consistently moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts. So I want that to change. Now, number 2, let's quickly see this. Optimism in the face of defeat. How do you face it? The optimism in the face of defeat. Please note this, that in Numbers chapter 3, what the scripture said about optimism in the midst of defeat, that tells me clearly that you are not the first person to experience failure. Many people in life have experienced failure and they all came out of it. But in this meeting, by the end of this meeting, I see you coming out of every failure. Please get your pen and paper, document everything you are hearing. You're gonna need it after this meeting. Now listen very carefully. In Numbers chapter 13 and verse 14, we say that 12 spices, they saw the land. 10 saw giants, and two saw God. Caleb himself said, "We are well able to overcome it." In Numbers chapter 13 and verse 30. The truth in this, the deep truth is this: optimism is not denial of difficulties. To be optimistic is not the absence of difficulties. Optimism is confident in God's ability despite difficulty. We see this generation of Gen Zs, this generation faces anxiety, pressure, and uncertainties, but pessimism weakens resilience. It's only optimism that resurrects resilience in you. Here it is in number 3. Failures attacks the mind before it affects the future. When people fail, the first battle is not external, it is internal. So failure whispers to you, stop trying, lower your expectation, stay small, don't rise again. But here the principle in Second Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of sound mind. A sound mind is essential for a comeback after failure. Number 4, listen very carefully. How to stage a comeback after failure. Mindset based. Listen very carefully. Reject the finality lie. Failure often convinces people that this is the end. But hear the truth. Psalms 37 and verse 24. For thou shalt fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. You will fall and then you will rise back again. The evidence is this: Moses failed as a murderer, but became a deliverer. David failed morally, but remained covenantally chosen. Peter failed publicly, but he led the early church. Failure is a chapter, but not a conclusion of your life. Hear me and hear me well. That reframe failure as a training, not as termination. For everyone under this meeting, I want you to be empowered and encouraged on how to reframe failure as training ground and not a termination ground. Joseph learned leadership in failure, in the midst of failure in prison. David learned humility in hiding. Paul learned dependency through weakness. We see from Romans chapter 8 and verse 24 that all things work together for good, including your failure, including your hardship, including discouragement you are going through in life. Growth mindset is this. Hear the truth, please. God uses failure to develop your emotional strength. God uses failure to develop your wisdom. God uses failure to develop your compassion. God uses failure in His infinite mercy to develop your endurance. Your pain is shaping your capacity to conquer your world. Your pain is shaping your capacity to conquer your world. For the earnest creature, they are waiting for the manifestation of sons of God, including sons of God who experience failures. Hear this and hear me well. In the midst of failure, in order for you to stage a comeback, speak life and not labels. The language you use after failure determines the direction of your recovery. We see in Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 21, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Of course, indeed. Instead of I am a failure, say to yourself, I am learning, I am growing. God is refining me. A comeback begins with change confession. Now, step number 4, hear this. Stay optimistic without being naive. Optimism is not pretending everything is fine. Optimism is trusting God while doing the work. We see the principle from Nehemiah. He acknowledged the broken walls. He prayed, he planned, he rebuilt. And hear what the scripture said in Nehemiah chapter 8 and verse 10. The joy of the Lord is my strength. In the midst of failure, in the midst of obstacles, optimism will always fuel your endurance. Develop resilience through repeated obedience. Resilience is not built in comfort, it is built through persistence. Let us not grow weary. Doing good is an indication that everything built to come back again is in persistence, through persistence. That is why the principle says, let us not grow weary in doing good. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9. Every time you try try again. Every time you fail, try again. Every time you fail, pray again. Every time you fail, show up again. Every time you fail, I want to encourage you to believe again in yourself. You are strengthened in your inner life. Now listen to this. Jesus and the renewed mindset. Jesus certainly challenged limiting thinking. Why with God all things are possible. Take heart, do not fear. Your faith has made you whole. That was Jesus speaking. Jesus restored minds before he restored situations. And number 6, what a growth mindset looks like after failure. A growth mindset believers will always say, this setback is sharpening me. God is teaching me patience. I may be delayed, but I am not denied. I am still becoming. I am still becoming. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 18. For we are being transformed into glory to glory. And listen, in closing this meeting, this moment, I want you to repeat this declaration after me. I invite you in this meeting to repeat this declaration as loud as you can and say this after me. My mind is being renewed. I refuse a defeated mindset. Failure did not finish me. I am growing through what I went through. God is working in me and through me. Repeat after me. I choose faith over fear. I am becoming stronger, wiser, and better. My comeback is already in motion. All over this meeting, you are blessed as we close this moment. You are blessed. Thank you for joining me in this meeting. But listen to me carefully before we meet again for the next session. Listen very carefully. You don't need a new life. You need a renewed mind. In this meeting, I want you to go home with this. When the mind changes, resilience rises. When resilience rises, comeback becomes inevitable. Those who trust in the Lord shall be strong, shall renew their mind daily. Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 31. I want you to leave this meeting, this moment, renew your mind that all the setback you're having in your life, you are coming back this moment. You are coming back. You will never return back the same. To God be all the glory. You are blessed all over the world where you're connected from. Share this message and be a blessing to humanity. We love you one more time and thank you for joining our meeting in this Paul O'Haniran Mentorship Program Forum. You are blessed. I will see you again in the next session. God bless you all.